Hello everyone, Taher here with Alltech Services. Today I'm here with Charles Glover, the IT manager over at Lakeland Housing Authority. Lakeland Housing Authority has been a client of ours for many years. They're an awesome client. We love working with Charles and the whole team over there at Lakeland Housing Authority. Thank you. Not only that, but they provide a huge benefit to Lakeland and the whole community. So I kind of want to just, before we get into the questions about co-managed IT, can you talk a little bit about Lakeland Housing Authority and kind of y'all's impact here in Lakeland?
Okay. Well, first, Taher, thank you for having us here.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here.
Well, Lakeland Housing Authority, we are a government entity that supplies our community with affordable housing, whether that's multifamily, single family, low-income housing, tax credit, and also market rate nowadays.
Nice, that's awesome. And I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that with COVID, housing is probably in higher demand than ever, especially for those individuals that may have lost their job or at low income. So
absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about those challenges through this time?
Yeah, definitely. As everyone knows, the housing market is in big demand because of the massive job loss that we incurred during the pandemic. And Lakeland Housing, we are here trying to find creative ways to support our community and do our part, and do our due diligence and help supplying that need.
Yeah, huge need.
Yes.
We're already bringing so much benefit to the community, and now with this extra need to be able to show up and help out, and like you said, in all these creative ways. Can you go into a little bit about some of the ways you've had to adapt through this time, and just in general as a housing authority, with
As the market changes, housing authorities, we're trying to find creative ways to stay relevant and stay in the market, being able to develop this affordable housing, whether that's getting into the market rate field, also finding more ways to do tax credit properties, also low income or restricted income communities, so that we can support the need and supply the need that our community needs and deserves.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know before the interview you talked a little bit about the kind of optimizing your current development, for instance, your current parcel. Can you talk a little bit about that recent initiative?
So again, housing authorities now are trying to find more creative ways to supply their community with the needs that they have. So here at Lakeland Housing Authority, we've developed ways that we were able to take current properties that had fewer units, and develop them into larger parcels, where we have one development that we're working on now, which is our Twin Lakes estate. That property there previously had 60 some odd units, and we've been able to redevelop that one parcel in that area to go from 60 units to 300 plus units, and trying to just fill that void and that need in our community.
That's incredible. I mean, that's really optimizing that land and really providing the most benefit you can out of that.
Yes, we try.
And that is a great example of being creative. Hey, this is an opportunity we have here. And there's so many positive externalities to that too. Not only in that, of course, the high value is you're getting people homes, potentially at a subsidized rate. Right. But on top of that, you had to work with a construction company, you had to work with realtors, you had to work with all these other entities that are now being able to contribute to the economy. There's so many positive facets of an initiative like that. So don't know if I have a question on that. I just think that's great.
Well, first I can say this. Our executive director, he's a visionary. He is a very intuitive man and very smart. He's able to deploy a team and create his vision, for our community. And he has found the most awesome ways to do it. And just like the initiative that we talked about, taking a 60 unit parcel, and turning it into a 300 unit parcel. And that's just the type of vision and leadership that we have here at the Lakeland Housing Authority.
That is, I'm glad you mentioned Ben. Ben is an incredible resource for our community.
Absolutely.
And specifically, well, one, he kind of pushed, advised me to do Leadership Lakeland, which was cool many years ago. And now, I went through it and I'm like, Ben, I can't thank you enough for like recommending that and giving me guidance on that.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, I ended up at a housing authority conference. I think it was like 2 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few housing authorities in Florida. And
there is.
And Lakeland won. I forget what they won, but I think it was like housing authority, the best housing authority in the state or something. They're the most innovative or something like that. And
we have been under Ben's leadership. We have been named a high performing organization, and that just goes to show the type of programs that he puts into place, the type of people that he has working for him, and the opportunity that he's trying to create for our city and our market.
Speaking more about the people, can you tell us a little bit about you and like how you got into IT?
Mm-hmm. I was born with a RAM chip in my hand,
He's installing a computer. He can't even walk.
Exactly. Yeah, I was putting them together before I could walk. IT has always been a passion for me. Computers, electronics from a young kid, and as I became a teenager, I got my first certification at 16, and further my education, going to college and getting those different degrees, designations, and I've worked for different companies. I've worked for Dell, I've also worked for Spectrum, and also worked for local IT companies. So I have a big background in IT, and it's just love and a passion, And anybody who's thinking about getting into IT, you guys definitely should. It's a great field.
Absolutely.
Ask me and Taher.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about your role at Lakeland Housing Authority and how you use a managed service provider like Alltek, of course, in this situation to supplement your IT staff? Okay.
Alltek is a great company, and for
he's not paid to say this, by the way.
No, I'm not. But you can. Alltech Services have been a great help, and for an IT manager like myself, they are a great support staff. They encompass everything that I would use as an internal staff, and maybe sometimes a little bit more. Nice. They provide a good quality service as I help maintain the day-to-day operations and looking to develop the future of the company. Alltek is there to help support me and keep everything running a lot smoothly than having to go through the interviewing process and hiring and trying to train an IT staff when Alltek Services already provides that for us.
You use us as you need to focus on the day-to-day operations, kind of the strategic position of your IT at Lakeland Housing Authority. Where is Lakeland Housing Authority going? Where do you need IT to take it? And then saying, distributing delegating to us, this is where we're going and how we need to get there. I need your help with it. Rather than having a team to do it, you've got us to do it for you.
Absolutely.
That's an awesome example of defining a role for your managed service provider, which is super duper important, right? Like some people may look for co-managed IT and they're like, hey, I need you to work on our IT. But one of the things, which I wrote a guide on this, which I can link, is transitioning to co-managed IT person. Step 2 in that process is making sure that the roles are very defined. Because in your situation, you are the strategic IT, you're the vision, and then we are your assistant, right? And that's a fantastic role to have. Another role we see often is in like the bigger organizations, like if, for instance, a company that may have 400 or 500 employees, what they say is, we just need y'all to be the level 1 help desk, right? Anything beyond that, like we need you to do these quick and easy tickets, anything beyond that, you escalate, and then vice versa.
Right.
We have that role where they say, hey, our guys are gonna do the level 1, because we don't, we want kind of a, maybe fresh out of college person, and then we want to use you guys for those level 2, level 3 escalation tickets. And then, so that's the roles, right? You've got, okay, we're supplementing your IT staff, you're the strategic vision, we're supplementing specifically the help desk, and then in other cases we have very siloed outsourcing, like we need you to do our backup. So in some situations, we will do strictly just the backup for customers, right? They have an internal IT team that they're very happy with, they have the help desk they're very happy with, but they don't want to spend money on having employees there restoring servers, testing backups, and making sure everything's backed up, right? What a mundane job, but we've got someone on staff, his whole job's backups. and somehow he loves it.
Absolutely.
He's great at it. It would drive me crazy, but. So that's where I think it's really important in that guide. Step 2 is make sure you define the roles, and I think you perfectly outlined how you guys define those.
Yeah,
roles.
Absolutely. And it is great that you guys here at Alltech, you guys have an olive cart of services, and that you guys aren't really just one-dimensional. So if there is something that you need, like you said, whether it's level 1, level 2, and for an IT manager like myself, it can supplement those roles that I may need at that time. Maybe I'm working on something level 3 and you guys can support the level 1 or vice versa, which makes things a lot easier and allow our business to run fluently and nobody see any difference.
And on top of that, you also have, and this happens in many situations where an IT manager or the IT person has other roles. They've got leadership meetings they got to be in. They have a totally different title. Like in your case, you also are the real estate, realtor in multiple facets. And
absolutely.
So I couldn't imagine, you're trying to do a specific job and you're getting help desk tickets all the time.
Right. So being, and especially someone in my role where you have multiple roles and you're trying to manage the day-to-day operations, manage the deployment, and also the future vision of your company, and then you have another job, and you're building and you're working towards that. Alltech is a great help when it comes to things like that, because they're there when you need them, and they free you up so that you're able to do more things than just focusing on one area.
Yeah. If you were, I've actually had conversations with other housing authorities that are looking to outsource potential IT. And so not just specifically housing authorities, but if you had an IT manager who is kind of reluctant on outsourcing to a managed service provider, maybe because they just want a little more control, they want someone in the office with them, whatever it may be, what would be your, I would think, like, best piece of advice for that IT manager who's like, I want to outsource, but I don't know, I'm a little hesitant?
For that type of manager there, if they're secure in their role at the company and they're providing a good product, know that Alltech is only going to complement that. They provide a staff where instead of you're hiring maybe 1 or 2, they have a complete staff that can offer you, again, that olive cart of services that not only complement what you're doing, but it helps you to do more. It's not anything that's taken away from your job, but it's actually something that's pushing you to do more and also giving you the ability to have a stress-free, worry-free that somebody may or may not know what they're doing. These guys actually know exactly what they're doing.
One thing I wanted to touch on a little bit is the misconception of outsourcing, right? When people think of outsourcing, especially when it comes to IT field, sometimes people are thinking, hey, this is going to a different country, I want to support local.
Right.
And depending on what managed service provider you work with, I mean, some are going to outsource to other countries, but for the most part, especially in IT, especially in small and medium-sized business in IT, so much of it is about the relationship. Yeah. So trying to outsource a relationship is just, from a managed service perspective, is not going to work. So that's why we really have to keep it local. Every one of our people here is a local, within 60 miles of our office. And in fact, we have an internship program and a path for people from Florida Polytechnic University. I probably shouldn't be giving away this information too openly, but I don't want other MSPs to do this.
Right.
It's
everybody in Polytechnic,
oh my
call Alltech.
They are just putting out really, really solid talent. And so we get an internship program where basically the intent of the internship is we're going to hire them on at a great salary.
That's awesome.
So we are hiring local people, and so the misconception of outsourcing, especially in IT, is, it's going somewhere else, it's not supporting the economy, I want to hire someone. Well, when you hire us, we have to hire staff to take that on. We have very strict not strict, because we have service level agreements that we really like to meet, and we do meet. So response time, resolution time, and other customer satisfaction is super important to us. So we have to hire to keep meeting those expectations. So so that's that's one misconception we hear all the time, especially in IT. Did you think that something similar? Or?
Luckily, we have a great leadership, and one thing about our executive director that he loves to hire local businesses. He's all about supporting the local community. So if we don't have to outsource to the big bread and box companies, we try to support local businesses. And Alltek, you guys provide a great service to us. Being that you guys also do hire, like you said, locally, and developing talent is something that me as an IT manager, it makes it a lot easier that I don't have to do that. That's something that you guys technically do for us. And again, we're not dealing with a support or help desk that, like you said, is being outsourced to another country, whether it's India, Beijing, or Great Britain. It's something locally, and we are helping our local community, and you guys are more of an assistance to the needs for someone like me, rather than somebody, taking my position or my job. You guys help me in finding new creative ways, because there's been times where you've called me and say, hey Charles, I looked into this, and maybe we can save you guys some money and go this route, and that makes someone like me look like a superstar.
Nice.
And that's what I like and I appreciate about Alltek.
One of the items that we have in the guide for successfully transitioning to a co-managed IT is going to visit the managed service provider's office. This part's often missed because the managed service provider wants to come to your office. Of course, they want to show their best foot. They want to come look at the networking equipment, whatever it might be.
Yes.
Show their best foot. I don't even know if that's a phrase. They want to show their. They want to, impress from the get-go. But the person interviewing may not think to go on site to the managed services office. Yes. So we definitely recommend that. And then so in our office, of course, here we are at the CoLogix data center. Do you see any value in having your IT company or MSP in a data center?
Absolutely. The office that you guys have here is a little bit, short of amazing. Really, because the type of support staff that you guys here come into your office, I can actually see the staff and see that they're real people, that that they're actually here, around the clock when you need them. And the type of facility that you guys are using to save and back up our data, know where your data is going, and know exactly the type of people that are going to be handling the managed services for you. And it's very reassuring than, just having somebody to come to your office and look at your equipment and say, okay, well, you need X, Y, and Z. Being able to see the facility, know exactly that it's in a good, safe place is awesome, and you guys do a great job with that.
Thanks, Charles. Yeah, that's actually, you mentioned like knowing where your data is going. Like it's making people like, oh yeah, you have backups. And it's like, well, where are they? It doesn't just go into the cloud. Oh, they're in the cloud.
Exactly. It's not at Taher's house.
Yeah, it's not in my garage
Exactly.
anymore. No, I'm just kidding. So that's a really good point in that. Another way we talk about specific roles for managed service providers in a co-managed environment. One of the roles we have for certain people is, since we're here in the data center, we have IT directors who their only role for us is you're managing our closet or you're managing our cabinet. So these 20 servers, you're managing those servers, you are doing the backup on those servers, you're doing the updates on those servers, you're doing the audits on those servers, etc. And that's it. And they're like, and since you're there, go take a peek every now and then, right? So we have cycles where we go, make sure all the hard drives are good, make sure everything's good. So as much as IT can be remote nowadays, like 98% of the things that we do are remote.
Yes.
And server management can be done remote. Well, the physical servers are right here. So they want a physical presence in case something were to happen, they need to swap out drive, we're right here. We can do it right away rather than Azure or like wherever else their data might be.
Right.
So that is a specific role we've seen as well.
And yeah, you guys do a great job with managing the servers. If I ever have any issues or have any problems, you guys are nothing but a phone call away, and normally somebody's always there to answer the phone.
Nice. Well, Charles, I really, really appreciate your time today. Seriously, I mean, it means I know how busy you are with multiple roles, and so you're taking your time to come all the way out to our office, do this interview with us,
No problem.
just to help,
appreciate you.
just help other IT
Yeah.
managers and of course us, for doing this.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So yeah, I really, really appreciate it. Thanks, Charles.
You're welcome.
So thank you for tuning in. I hope this is some value to you, whether you're an IT manager or the owner of a company, trying to get into IT to see the different roles available IT. There's internal IT positions, there's outsourced IT positions. We're hiring every time we get a new client or a couple new clients, we have to hire someone.
There's a big market out here.
Yeah, so there's multiple facets of IT that you can get into. So thanks again for tuning in. I hope you've had some value out of this, and we'll see you in the next one.